away. I'll hop onto the main channel so then I can find it nice and quickly. It's all taking a little while to load. There it is there. Streams up. Yep. Audio is working as it should. Streams up, chats up. We're all good to go. That is absolutely fantastic. Hello everyone and welcome to round 4 of the Pacific Elite Series here on Race Spec Esports. I'm Lane Everingham, your lead commentator for this event, and tonight we'll be racing at Autódromo Hermanos Rodríguez for the Mexican Grand Prix. Located within Mexico City at a whopping 2.2 kilometers above sea level, Autódromo Hermanos Rodríguez was constructed in 1959 and has been hosting Formula One Grand Prix since 1962. 30 years later, in 1992, the circuit would disappear from the calendar and wouldn't reappear again until 2015, with the circuit redesigned into its current 4.3 kilometer, 17-turn layout. The racetrack consists of very long straights and 3 long DRS zones that lead into the prime overtaking spots of Turn 1, Turn 4 and Turn 12. It also consists of what I believe is the most difficult S section on the whole schedule. The section is formed by Turn 7 through 11. Every corner is high speed with the car right on the edge of grip. The optimal racing line through this section will force drivers to get close with track limits, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a fair few time penalties being dished out during the race. Finally, there's a tight, twisty arena section that usually creates chaotic bottlenecks for drivers to deal with during safety car restarts. Optimally, the car needs to be nimble enough to rotate through the slow corners, stable enough to traverse the fast corners, and have as little aero as possible so you can fly down the long straights. As you could probably tell, setups are a bit of a nightmare here in Mexico. Now, before we fully focus on qualifying here, there is a bit of news to go through first from last week's race in Portugal. Only a single incident report involving Plebs, who request a penalty removal, which was successful, and I believe he got his 3-second time penalty removed, which means he jumps up from P5 to P4 in the final results. In the Drivers' Championship, ACW is leading the way on 67 points, followed by Smithy in the Aston Martin on 60. Plebs P3 on 58, followed by Ferrari Pro on 55, GeForce Pato on 51, Bags Liddell on 39, and it's a bit of a jump down to Jimson on 22, followed by Pump on 21, Roscoe Arm on 20, and rounding out the top 10 is FVR Riley on 18 points. In the Constructors, Ferrari are leading on 122, followed by Alpine on 109 and Aston Martin on 99. Then it's a humongous drop down to McLaren, who are on 40 points, 59 points behind Aston Martin. So there's a definite top 3 forming in the Constructors' fight. Next is Alfa Romeo on 32, followed by Williams on 30, Mercedes on 23, Red Bull Racing on 16, and at the bottom of the table we have AlphaTauri and Haas, both of them on 14 points. But that's pretty much it in terms of news leading into this race. I can now introduce my co-commentator for tonight, who is once again KD1997. KD, it's the first sprint round of a championship, and it's an interesting location as well for a sprint race.
Yeah, interesting track to have it as well. Mexico, not a most ideal racetrack in terms of my opinion for a sprint round, but I mean that's what it is. But yeah, very intrigued how this is gonna pan out, especially with how interesting technical Mexico can be, especially like those high-speed S's like you mentioned too.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the more tricky sections, I think, on any F1 calendar. I've always had a huge gripe about this circuit. I famously have had a huge gripe about this circuit. It's just so tough, especially if you're on a pad. Those changes of direction through turn 7. Oh, and there's Gears out of the session. He's crashed out at turn 12, sorry. There we go. So, already an incident. And we're only a few minutes into qualifying. Sort of shows the lethal nature of the circuit, doesn't it?
Well, I guess pretty much. Yeah, like you mentioned, it's more of a wheel track in a sense, especially when you go through the S's. could definitely tell you the difference between the wheel and the pad. It's definitely night and day, for sure. Considering now I'm on the wheel, it's much easier on the wheel. On the pad, like you said, it's a nightmare just because you just gotta be like very focused and make sure you don't ride those curves. Like the curves there on the S's are they're awful in my opinion. Because of like how tall they are, and the car bottoms out if you use too much, so you got to be very careful about that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Plebs crosses the line to jump up to provisional pole position with a 16.017. But yeah, there are several areas around this racetrack that I have a huge issue with, just with how the circuit's designed and what you have to do to extract pace. I mean, if certain areas were more strict and certain areas were less strict, probably make for a better racetrack. But there are areas here where you need to cut everything that you can. Most notably the S's and also the opening chicane of turns 1, 2 and 3. You have to cut a fair chunk of each of those apexes in order to optimize the time you get through the sector. But when you get so close to the track limits, it's very easy to get warnings. We saw it with Kong a few minutes earlier when he invalidated through the S section as ACW jumps to the top with a 15.6. There's just so many little areas to deal with, and then you've got this tight, twisty arena section, and for anyone who's running no assist, which is all of the guys competing, you have to be so careful on the accelerator and be very careful with the curbs as Ferrari Pro jumps up to P2 with a 15.8. But yeah, it's a generally just very tough racetrack, and the fact that we've got a sprint race here as well, it's going to be very interesting to see how all of that unfolds. Like typically you tend to see strategy races here in Mexico, but we'll get to see some proper on-track racing for at least a little bit. And I think you told me the sprint race is going to be 12 laps long.
Yeah, 12 laps. That's what it said on the graphic.
Right.
So, yeah, 12 laps for the sprint, and it's 36 for the actual race, of course. So that's like a total laps of 48. That's quite a while, if I'm totally honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have been informed by Mr. ACW we shouldn't have any wet weather for tonight's race, which is absolutely fantastic because this track is difficult enough in the dry. Smithy here on a flying lap. We're going to ride on board to give you a tour of the circuit. Into turn 1, easily the best overtaking spot on the circuit. Fourth gear back on the accelerator. Through turn 2 and into turn 3. Nice and steady, using plenty of curb on the exit there. He'll open DRS and head down towards turn 4. Shifting into top gear, climbing over 310 kilometers an hour into the left-hander, down to fourth gear, around turn 5, nice and steady in fourth, using plenty of the curb on the outside. Now into turn 6, you want to clip both apexes there, and Smithy does exactly that. Got a lovely exit as well. Into the S's, turn 7, around turn 8, round turn 9, gee whiz, those curbs are nasty. 10, then through 11, just kept it within the white lines at the exit of turn 11. Into turn 12, down through the gearbox, down to 5th gear, nice and gently on the accelerator on the way out, and around the hairpin of turn 13, 3rd gear, short shifts to 4th, keeps it in 4th gear, heading around turn 16, and up towards now the final corner, turn 17, which will end the flying lap. Smithy goes 5th quickest with a 16.317. He is 0.004 of a second behind Spicy in P4. But yeah, that S section, gee whiz, you could see it there with Smithy. Those minor corrections because of the curbs, and so easy to lose control through there.
Yeah, it's just because, yeah, like I've said, those curves, you just touch them, you can either spin the, well, I did say you can bottom out. I just forgot to mention about how much you could actually spin as well. It's just so deadly. But yeah, also like we talk about the stadium section as well. So obviously, you know, I am in the America Tier 1. We obviously use no assist apart from racing line, of course. I've been doing a bit of practice around here, well, in some cases. My worst fit actually is the stadium section because I hate the hairpin so much. Because you have to trail brake, then you have to hug the inside apex, and then you have to find the traction. It's so stupidly horrible to do that. It's ridiculous.
Yep. You have to tippy-toe your way out of the corner because there's another corner coming up. It all adds up to a really bloody tricky complex. And it's so easy to put a foot wrong through there and make a slight misinput which completely ruins the run. So you do have to be incredibly careful around all areas around this circuit. I mean, there's not a single area around this track where you can relax, especially with no assist racing, because every corner, it seems like, can catch you out, whether that be losing grip on the exit or losing grip through the middle of the corner, like through the S section. So there's just so many little things you have to try and worry about. Still only 2 cars in the 15s though, the 2 Ferraris. Everyone else has done a 16 plus.
Yeah, closest one too, that was plus with a 16.017. But yeah, we'll probably see those times somewhat tumble down. Of course, we did, as we said before, there's just sprint conditions too, so we don't really have much track rubber as we would get in a normal qualifying session. So yeah, that it's probably not a total surprise to see the times somewhat like this, at least. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, we will probably see them go a little bit quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very, very fair statement to make. And it's astonishing that Codemasters would even bother simulating that sort of aspect. They don't properly simulate the actual atmospheric conditions of the circuit, because this circuit is so tall. Like at 2.2 kilometers above sea level, the air is quite thin here at Mexico City, which means in order to get any downforce in real life, the teams have to run max wings everywhere in order to get anything. And by increasing the wings, they don't get a penalty either, because there's so little air. It means there's so little drag. So you can afford to run max wings everywhere. Here in the game, though, you definitely don't want to run max wings at all. No, you need that straight line speed.
Yeah, especially how long the straights can be. Especially the main straight. And it's also not easy to get the battery up either, if you use a lot of it. Okay. It's hard to get it back. From what I've experienced in Mexico.
I think you really do need DRS in order to get it back, if I remember.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah, if you're out in front or by yourself, yeah, it is difficult. I do remember something like that last time I raced here in Mexico. It has been a while. As ACW makes his way around the final 2 corners and back on the main straightaway to complete another flying lap. Smashes it. 1 minute 15.289. He's now got almost 0.6 of a second over his teammate Ferrari Pro, who's making his way around turn 6. Plevs making his way around turn 6 as well, currently P3. He's not on a push lap though. You can see the flashing red light on the back of the car. It means that he's in harvest mode. He's not pushing at all. Ferrari Pro meanwhile heading towards the final sector now. DRS open, he's up by 0.2 of a second as he makes his way into the stadium section, down to 3rd gear. Short shifts back up to 4th. Ooh, a bit of understeer there at the exit of turn 13, but he managed to get enough rotation in as he heads around the final corner, turn 17, and up towards the line. He improves by just over 0.2 to set a 15.644. Still making it a Ferrari 1-2.
But a bit of a gap though between the Ferraris as well. 3.5 tenths separate between ACW and Ferrari Pro.
Yeah, ACW is properly dialed in, it seems, for this Mexican Grand Prix. Judging by the times he's setting at the moment, he's a clear favourite heading into the sprint in the main race. Smithy jumps up to P3. He now joins the 15s. He misses out on getting P2 though by, what's that, 55,000... Oh, sorry, no, I can't math. By 25 thousandths of a second. So Smithy not far off the front row, but he still needs to find that little bit extra time. Players making his way towards the turn 6 hairpin. Down to 3rd gear, short shifting up to 4th on the exit. Nice tidy run out of 6, heading towards 7. Down to 5th gear, through turn 8, into turn 9. Slight lift there through turn 9. Slight lift through turn 10 and 11 as well, just trying to keep the car nice and stable. And he's down actually by 2/10, so I reckon what he's going to do is bail out of the lap and go back into the pits, put on another set of soft tyres, and then do one final run. Because we only got 4 minutes and 20 seconds left in qualifying.
Yeah, of course. And also in the sprint, in the qualifying session, you only get 3 sets of soft tyres rather than you having like 3 softs and a medium, or depending on your allocation of tires.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
drivers do need to be aware of that, as Kong had a huge moment coming out of turn 6. Just under 4 minutes left in qualifying, so this is getting towards... he invalidates through turn 9. Getting... Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
Just needs to not do that on a flying lap, if he can help it. Couple of drivers out on track. We got Kong, we got David. Oh, we got Riley as well. Didn't spot Riley at the bottom of the table. And now GeForce Zach has moved his way out of pit lane and he's getting ready for a run. So Kong onto the main straightaway. We'll open DRS and head down towards turn 1. An incredibly long run to the opening corner. In fact, I believe it's now the longest run to turn 1 on any racetrack on the calendar. Give us some awesome shots in the sprint and in the main race. Through turn 2, and he invalidates. Well, didn't learn his lesson on the outlap, I suppose, invalidating through the opening chicane. Oh dear.
Well, he's still got time to do another lap if he has enough fuel, at least.
That's right.
250 to go. So yeah, that's the only thing he can at least hope.
It's one of the benefits of going out slightly earlier is that you give yourself room in terms of time. But obviously the advantage of staying in the pit lane and letting the timer tick down is letting the track evolve so you can get the most optimal conditions right at the end of the session. But obviously it means it restricts you to one run. And if you screw up your run, then that's it. That's the end of qualifying. So it's an all or nothing sort of situation right at the death of quali. See a few drivers just taking the opportunity to go out a bit earlier, give themselves a little extra legroom. So if they make a mistake, which around this circuit is really likely, let's be honest, just giving yourself that little bit of extra room to allow yourself to do a couple of runs if need be. Now, Riley making his way into the S's now, cutting too much so at 7.
Yep. He had a quick first sector with a 28 too. But yeah, that cut there, yeah. That just ruined everything.
But that's what you got to do, isn't it, KD, here at Mexico? You really have to abuse the track limits through that section.
Oh yeah, it's tempting. It's tempting you to cut all of that. It's like, here, I want you to cut all of me. I want you to use me as much as possible. Yeah, and the game doesn't usually punish you for it either. You don't lose too much grip or anything like that, so you generally gain time. But you skirt so close to the track limits themselves that it's so easy to give yourself a warning. So you have to ride a fine line between cutting as much as you can and not cutting too much to cop a warning. Because if you cop a warning, that's it. Your entire lap is done. So just need to keep it clean. Davis is currently doing that, and he's up by 7.5 tenths as he makes his way into the arena section. Someone's jumped up. I think that was Kong jumping up to P6, I think. Yeah, it was, with a 16.196.
So P6 currently then for the Red Bull driver. He's on the third row. Davis crosses the line, goes P12 with that lap. ACW's invalidated his final run. Well, there you go. Our current pole sitter just ruined his final flying lap attempt, so he cannot improve. That is the benchmark to beat. A 1 minute 15.289. What can his teammate do here? Into the S as we go. Turn 7, 8, round turn 9, now towards turns 10 and 11, right on the edge of grip, fully sending it round. Awesome stuff. But he's only up by 1/10.5 to the mid-sector. Out of turn 12 towards turn 13. Smithy retires in the pit lane. His session is done. He will not be improving from that P3 position. Riley jumps up to P3 with the 15.6 Ferrari Pro. Just misses out on pole. Not much separating the two Ferraris. Only 15 thousandths of a second. Meanwhile, Plevs is up by a little bit to the first sector. Does have his teammate directly in front of him. GeForce Pato currently P10. So Plevs might be copying a low and
oh, that was deep. Yeah.
Yeah, Pato got out of the way. I think that might have distracted Plevs and he's down. Spicy, meanwhile, jumps up to P5, 15.989. Goes in front of Plevs, and I don't think Plevs will be improving on this lap. Pump jumps up to P7. Pato, his session's done. Same with Davis. So Plevs will cross the line and end the session. Yeah, he won't be too pleased with that. P5, though, I think. Yeah. So he ended up improving.
He did.
Yeah, there you go. Not much.
Wow, 15,000. And then there's the rest of the field.
Yeah, 3.5 tenths behind, but
yeah,
still got a long way to go. Qualifying doesn't tell us everything, so, but it tells us right now that the Ferraris are fast. It's a 1-2 ACW from Ferrari Pro. Riley 3rd, Smithy 4th, Plevs recovers to 5th, Spicy 6th, Punt 7th, Kong 8th, Bagsadell 9th, GeForce Pato rounds out to 10. Then we have Roscoe Arm, GeForce Zach, Davis, Aussie, Marvelant, and Gares, after crashing out right at the beginning of qualifying, will start at the very back for the sprint race here in Mexico.
Alright.
Now,
at least it's dry for the... Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. I was about to mention that. At least it is dry. Because, yeah, you could tell from qualifying people were having a handful. Man, it's a bit of a weird environment, isn't it? Very, very late in the day to have this race. That's what it seems like. There's like a mist up in the background near pit entry. That's strange.
Yeah, it's like... Yeah, it's more of a... I know that's the glare from the sun. What is it on? I'm sure realistic. Yeah, it's realistic, so...
Yeah, interesting.
I'm guessing, well... in real life, I mean, they do it somewhat towards the evening, if I remember correctly. Local times. From when they've done it in real life.
Interesting.
So I guess that makes a little sense.
Something to note as well, first sprint race of the season. Top 10 will score points. Goes from 10, 9, 8, all the way down to 1. And nobody gets fastest lap. I don't think the fastest lap point is available in the sprint. So you only get points for position at the end of the race. So... there is still something to fight for. It's not just track position for the start of the main race. But you can snag some extra points here in this 12-lap sprint in Mexico. Everyone should be starting on the mediums, I would think. No, we don't. Interesting. So,
two on the softs. Okay.
Yep. Pump in the Williams is starting on the soft compound tyre in P7. And all the way down in P13, Davis... also starting on the soft tyre. I mean, it's a bit of a gamble. Well, I don't know if the soft tyres can do 12 laps or not. Wouldn't think so. That's a long stint.
Yeah, it's quite a long ways with a track like... Sorry, a track like this.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, like you said, it might be a bit of a risk.
We'll find out, I suppose. But it means they have an extra medium set for the main race.
Yeah. I was going to say that sun is really, really glary at turn 6.
It's like Kota
like,
stuff.
Yeah, where it's the sunlight is just the sun is just directly in your eyes.
It's like sun. I want all the sun.
I mean, look, even the S section too, in the left corner.
Yeah.
You get all the glare.
All of the sun just bleeding into my eyes. It's great. Yeah, this must be late in the afternoon, I would guess.
Yeah, that's definitely late in the afternoon conditions. Evening conditions, whatever it could be.
Yeah.
Because the race I know in Mexico would, well, it usually would, well, if it's like where I'm from, it usually would start around noon local time.
Yeah.
Well, for me. So that would be like, I don't know, maybe like 2 o'clock there in Mexico. But yeah. This would probably be like 4 or 5 o'clock, I probably would guess. A rough guess, that is.
Lena's lining up into their grid slots. Now ACW does have the cleaner side of the racetrack heading down towards turn 1. But of course, if he doesn't get a good start, Ferrari Pro has the inside line, so... But it's a long run to turn 1. Drivers like Riley and Smithy might be able to capitalise with that, with the help of Slipstream. We've got 10 red lights here, 12 laps in front of us, and we're underway here in Mexico. The sprint races go. It's a great start from Riley and Smithy on the second row as we head down to turn 1 for the first time in race conditions. Riley gets in front of Ferrari Pro. Man, what are these camera angles? There we go. Down towards T1 we go. Riley round the outside. He takes the lead heading into turn 2. Ferrari... Oh, there he meets. ACW fighting back at turn 3, forcing the McLaren wide, but Riley's having none of it. It's a drag race down towards turn 4. Riley with the inside line. ACW fighting around the long way, and ACW gets a position.
Riley never got touched at the back by Plebs though at turn heading into turn 4. Luckily they got through that bit unscathed.
Out of turn 6, heading down towards the S's now. A fairly controlled start from everybody, so well done. Pat on the back to all 16 so far. They all need to get through this X section without making a mistake. There's ACW, there's Riley, Ferrari Pro, Plebs and Smithy just behind. Down towards the arena section we go. Everyone's made it through the mid-sector. Now they have to make it through the final sector without making a mistake. Around the hairpin of turn 13, then into the kinks of 14 and 15 towards 16, and then the final corner, turn 17. Well, it appears, KD, everyone's made it through. Not a single incident on lap 1.
No, like you said, well done to everyone getting through the first lap. Congratulations. But it's still got a long way to go. You got 11 more laps to go.
Yep.
That's the main thing. Get through this. Don't want to make a mistake. Do not want to lose any dramatic amount of positions.
Yep. Oh, hello.
As I say, that Plebs has crashed, I think.
Where is he?
He's crashed it. He's at turn 2 on the right-hand side.
How on earth has he done that?
I don't know. Was he helped? I don't know.
He could have been helped.
Jeez.
VSC.
And it's a VSC, a very late one, too. That came a few seconds later after he crashed. Yeah, that's very interesting. How that happened.
Who was he with? Was he with Pum, maybe?
There was Pum, Smithy, and Fry. I think he was around.
Oh, I can't see any damage on the Williams. I can't see any damage on the Aston. What about the Merc? Nothing on it. Nothing on Bags Liddell's car. So, yeah, I'm not totally sure what happened to Plebs. He might have just lost it on his own coming out of turn 1. I doubt it, because it's such a low-speed section. Like, how do you spin out like that by yourself? He might have had a technical issue. I don't know. But he's out.
He could have. He could have also, I don't know, probably got too trigger happy with the accelerator. That's another guess. But I don't know.
I suppose he will inform us in a bit, I'd imagine. Yeah, we're a bit lost. We don't know how you ended up there, Plebs. Whatever you do, you did a really good job of it. So, everyone pretty evenly spread out right now. No one in any sort of position to attack just yet. Oh, hello. Speaking of attacking, Pato around the outside of Bags Liddell. And with the inside line at turn 5, he's able to keep the position. So a tidy move there from Pato. Plenty of respect being shown by Bags as well to just let the overtake happen. Now into the S's we go. Now being stuck behind. Oh, gee whiz, Bags. He lost control just a little bit. Oh, and G4 Zach has crashed. Where is he? Oh my word.
S's, and that's brought out another VSC.
He was in a very awkward spot. He was in a gap in the barrier on the right hand side of the circuit. So yeah, I've no idea how he's pulled that off. He might have been helped. I don't know.
Some weird crashes I've seen. I guess we've been seeing for the first couple of laps.
Yeah, I want to know how people are doing them.
I might have cursed Plebs a little bit by saying, don't, make a mistake and lose dramatic amount of positions. Colin and Bags Liddell.
Yeah.
1 and 2. Looks like Colin's got the move done, at least.
Yeah. Tidy move. Bags couldn't really put up too much resistance on that restart. He might have got screwed over by the delta a little bit. We know how nasty that thing can be. So through turn 6 down towards the beginning of the S's at turn 7. Half a second currently separating the top two. That is ACW and Riley. P3 is Ferrari Pro. P4 is a man on screen, Smithy, in the Aston Martin. Oh, getting close with the track limits there at the exit of the left-hander as he heads towards turn 12. Now, it'll be an interesting fight towards the front here, I imagine. We got two lengthy DRS zones coming up, and Riley, I think, is in prime position to try and take the lead. Alright.
SW gets a good run, but Riley says fast lap now is beat by, well, then Ferrari Pro, then Spicy, now Kong.
Yep.
The DRS. Oh, he's definitely going to get him in for sure. That's turn 1.
Yeah. Down the inside he goes. Here comes Smithy around the outside at turn 1. Can't get it done there. Through turn 2. Into turn 3. Tidy run at the exit of the right-hander. Down towards turn 4. Both Ferrari Pro and Smithy have DRS. So Smithy isn't able to close in too much through here. Around turn 5. Towards the hairpin of turn 6. Just have to be nice and careful through here. Try not lose too much time. Down towards the S's now. Turn 7. 8. Through 9. Into turn 10. Gaz with a 3-second time penalty. 11. Now up towards turn 12. Spicy's close to Pump here. Not close enough to make a move just yet. A little bit wide there from Pump. Just a little. Through the hairpin of turn 13. Round 14. 15. Towards turn 16. And then the final corner, turn 17. Back onto the main straight. Pump will not have DRS, I think. I don't think it was... Oh, he does. Okay, I didn't think it was within range, but he was. Only just though, I reckon. Maybe a few hundredths of a second, but he's got it. And that means Spicy will stay in P6. He won't be able to attack just yet.
Oof. Bit awkward there from Pump there, losing the back end a bit. But doesn't look like he'll be compromised by Spicy there. Oh,
Spicy's got a run though. Looks to the inside, dives it in. Contact! Oh, gee whiz, Seb. He only just about pulled it up there. Pump with the inside line at turn 6. Gets in front, almost contact. Pump retains P5 and a lot of wheel spin there from Spicy exiting turn 6. Through 7. Understeer through turn 8. Through turn 9. Sparks flying from the Williams. Through turn 10 into 11. See the flashing red light on the back of the Williams. He's low on battery pump. He's going to be vulnerable!
Oh, my goodness!
Well, that's going to relieve a bit of pressure, but I reckon Pump might have had Code Brown going on if he had his rear view mirror on, because his rear view would have filled up with Mercedes. And it wouldn't have been a nice sight to see. So, Spicy's just cost himself a position. Pato moves up to P6 now, and he's hunting down Pump in the Williams. Down towards turn 1. Not close enough to send it here just yet, but I reckon if he can get a nice run through turn 3, he should be able to attack at turn 4, but that's not a good run, is it?
Nope.
Oh.
This car got way too twitchy.
Yeah, it got really wiggly at the exit of 3. Caught it well, but it means he can't attack Pump at turn 4. And now, at the back of the train is Kong and Bags Liddell. They now join this fight. So we got, what, a 5-car fight for 5th. We got a 4th-car fight for 1st. Interesting.
Yeah, bit of gap here there too. 2.5 seconds difference between Smithy and... Oh, yellows.
Gears.
That's at the back. His gears. Ouch.
It's a small moment. He gets himself going. Now through this arena section, ACW is 4/10 behind. Got some battery too. Just under 50%. Gaz has got a similar amount though, so this is pretty even between the top two. But obviously ACW has a slight advantage in terms of pace, thanks to DRS. He's closing in down the main straight. Speaking of closing in, Pato's going to go for a pass here for 5th. down the inside at turn 1, gets in front of Pump, moves down to P6, and he might move down another position, as he won't get DRS here out of turn 3. DRS open on Spicy's car. Moves to the inside. Going around turn 4. Ooh, Pump or contact again through turn 4 between those two.
Yeah, thankfully nothing bad. Oh, hello. That's calm there.
That was ballsy down the inside of turn 6, and now side by side heading towards 7 as Aussie has left the session. Hopefully he can rejoin ASAP. Pump gets a 3-second time penalty just to rub a little extra salt into the wound.
Yeah, I reckon those softs are just not really feeling up to the potential, really.
Yeah, they'll be falling off, I imagine, right now. And that's Gez again spinning at turn 6. Oh, Bags, I think. Oh, what the? That was desync. That was 100% desync. Had to be desync.
I guess. Where's... Well, there's Bags there at the stadium section. What on earth happened?
Don't know. But Bags turned Kong around like he was a Beyblade. And they're now back going again. I don't think either car has damage from what I could tell. But I saw someone jumping. I think it might have been Bags just jumping about a bit. It might have been a bit of lag. Yeah, and when it all readjusted itself, he just turned Kong.
Yeah, he was on the outside when I looked at him. I was on board with Colin when that happened. And then all of a sudden, all that stuff happened.
Well, Gaz is retired. He's had enough of this race. He's going to start P14. Meanwhile, out in front, Riley leads. ACW still in second. Ferrari Pro still in third. Smithy still in fourth, but that is a huge blow for the race leader. A 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Oh dear.
Yep, and as a result, he might drop down to fourth if this keeps up as it stands. Yeah,
I reckon that's exactly what's going to happen. KD, unless of course one of the 3 drivers behind also gets a time penalty. Now the AI of Gers is making its way back onto the racetrack, so ACW will not be able to pass here due to yellow flags. Oh gee whiz!
It wasn't ghosted either. Well, holy smokes!
Fortunately the drivers were alert and made their way round cautiously, as the AI is still dawdling around the racetrack.
Oh no.
Got the IQ of a moron. Making their way around turn 5 now, the race leaders. There's a battle on out in front. ACW trying to fight around a long way here at turn 6. He gets the drive down, gets the car in front, heading towards 7. Riley can't fight that, I'm afraid. ACW retakes the lead.
Jesus. So, yeah, that could have been nasty.
Really, nasty. It really could have been, but fortunately, I think everyone was pretty alert to what was going on, and they all avoided the stupid AI, so it's all good. Now, what will Riley do with the time penalty? Will he just try and battle ACW anyway? I think he might.
Well, if he wants to fight for pride, I guess. I mean, the more sensible option would be just race it out. And just, yeah. Well, actually, no, he's got attacking.
There you go.
There you go. Turn 1. Down the inside, he's got the move done.
Oh.
He's now back into the race lead.
Cut off ACW at turn 2 as well. It's balked ACW. Now has Ferrari Pro and Smithy. Here they come. ACW doesn't have DRS. Ferrari Pro around the outside. He'll have the inside line. Contact between the Ferraris. And here comes Smithy to move through into third. Around turn 6 we go. ACW is now down to 4th place. And look, Pato and Spicy, they are catching.
Yeah, because of the little battle as well. Oh, that's definitely not going to help Riley, is it? Definitely not, with now these guys climbing into the positions. Or into the battle, I should say.
Down into turn 12, up towards turn 13. Riley's got a gap. Oh, Ferrari Pro, not the best of runs through the arena. It's cost himself time. So I think Riley should be able to hang on to the race lead here. down the main straightaway. So final lap now, lap 12 of 12 here in Mexico City. Down towards turn 1. The gap shrinking, but it's not shrinking by enough. Ferrari Pro has to stay behind in second. But he doesn't have to attack Riley at all. He just needs to stay there, and he'll ensure a sprint race win, thanks to Riley's time penalty. ACW close. Doesn't go for a move though at turn 4. He is very close though. Through turn 5. Up towards 6. No one able to send it just yet. We're just hovering behind one another. Gaps are just a little bit too big. Through the S's now. Around turn 9. Towards turns 10 and 11. They all get through it unscathed without making a mistake. One sector remains. It's unfortunate that Riley does have a time penalty next to his name. It's gonna hurt him quite considerably. The confetti goes off through the arena section. 2 corners remain for the leaders. Riley will cross the line in first, but it'll be F1 Ferrari Pro who wins the first sprint of the Elite Series Championship. Smithy will finish in P2, ACW in third, Pato fourth, and Riley, who did cross the line in first, will jump all the way down to 5th. He'll be starting on the 3rd row. Next is Spicy, Roscoe Arm, Pump, Kong, and Marvelin might be our final point scorer. He is. Only just though by 0.2 of a second to Bags Liddell. Aussie's AI will cross the line in 13th. And Davis in the AlphaTauri will finish in 13th position. It was looking like it was going to be a really interesting conclusion there at the end, but everyone was a bit too spread out in order to battle.
Yeah, and then of course with Riley's penalty, kind of hampered him too. Hampered it a little bit. So,
F1 Ferrari Pro will win the first sprint, and he'll score 10, not 8 points for this race victory. Smithy, P2 for him. He'll score 9. ACW in third, followed by Pato in fourth. Then Riley, Spicy, Roscoe, Pump, Kong, Marvelin, and Bags Liddell will round out the top 10. Here are the gaps within that top 10. And outside of the points, we have Bags Liddell, Aussie, Davis, Gez, Zach, and Plez all retired from the session. Still got no idea what happened to Zach and Plez. I've got no clue. Unless they said something in the Discord, I haven't picked up on it.
They haven't said anything from what I've seen.
Yeah, right. So I would assume then they just did it by themselves.
Well, I do know what happened to Colin and Bags. Apparently there was a screen freeze from Colin's POV. And I guess that's what happened with all that incidents. The incident that happened at the hairpin.
Yeah, right. Interesting.
Makes sense.
I'm guessing that's you, Ridwan. I would guess. I know that's your team, FR Bono Racing. I'm guessing that's you, Ridwan. If not, inform me.
Oh, no, it definitely is, because he said, come on, Willis. And he knows ACW. Oh, he actually said, yep. There you go, that's confirmed it for me.
Hello, Ridwan.
Thanks, sir, for putting in my actual first name.
Mr. Carl Dyer.
Yes, that is me.
Oh. Now.
Well, it's cloudy.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, according to ACW, there wasn't any wet weather indicated, though it did say there was a 21% chance of rain. So let's take it with a grain of salt. It's going to be cloudy for this race. It might rain, maybe not. We'll wait and see with this game, because you never really know. Now, the strategy was quite straightforward, and there's a nice indicator there. Hang on, see if I can find anyone on the mediums. Is everyone starting on the hard tyre?
Quite literally.
Oh, almost everyone. 2 drivers starting on the mediums. So, Spicy and Pato, they're both starting on the mediums. Everyone else is on the hard tyre. And according to the game, the hard tyre could do somewhere between 20 to 28 laps. That's good to know. I'm going to write that down in my little notebook here. It's always nice to try and take those sort of notes. But yeah, as Aussie has rejoined, thank goodness for that. But yeah, interesting. A lot of people starting on the hard tyre, which suggests to me, KD, it's going to be another one-stop race.
Yep, of course, because this is how the game is.
I mean, famously in the past, this track was a two-stopper.
Yeah,
it's always been a two-stopper.
Yeah, because I remember in 2019 and 2020, it was what, freaking soft, medium, medium, or soft, medium, soft.
Yeah, because the soft tyre was really, really quick around here.
Oh yeah.
Like, it was honestly 2 seconds a lap faster than the medium compound tyre. The difference was massive. And you could get about 12 laps out of the tyres. So, oh, ACW. Don't want to be doing that, mate. Kind of ruins the tyre. But, yeah, no, in this game, medium hard, hard medium, that's it. So, nice and bland for everybody. Yeah, no, only Pato and Spicy starting on the medium compound tyre. Everyone else starting on the hard. So we'll get rid of that graphic for now and we'll keep our eyes on the start. Ferrari Pro from pole position. He gets the start on the other side of the racetrack this time around. And his teammate, ACW, will get a nice healthy slipstream heading towards turn 1. That might help ACW as well as G-Force Pato and P4. So, yeah. See how this all unfolds. This time around we got 36 laps in front of us instead of 12 for this main race. All 16 cars are lined up ready to run. We got 5 red lights. And we're underway once again in Mexico. The main races go. It's a great start from Pato on the medium compound tyre. He'll drag race Ferrari Pro down towards turn 1. Who's got the longer legs here? Pato has the inside line. He has the nose in front. Ferrari Pro tries to fight around the long way, but he doesn't have the grip. Pato takes the lead. Ferrari Pro in second. ACW running wide, but he's third. Smithy trying to fight the Ferrari driver. Heading towards turn 4. He slots in the slipstream. Goes to the outside here. Into the left-hander. Or tries to scoot it all the way around. He does. He has the inside line at turn 5. It's now a battle into turn 6. And I think ACW has won it. Only just so. Now, a bit of passing going on here between Bags and Pump. 2 wide action between the Red Bulls as well as we head into turn 7. Bags gets in front of Pump.
Oh, spin!
Oh,
that
spin. Was Kong.
Yeah, Kong on a half spin there. Oh! Thank goodness Ghosting kicked in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that could have been bad.
Then Aussie, just at that moment, has just left the session again. So hopefully he'll be able to rejoin ASAP. Yeah, another interesting moment through there. It could have been a really... Oh, Pato! I think he had a moment there. It certainly looked like it. Coming out to the final corner. I think he might have been a tad bit sideways. It cost himself a couple of tenths, but he's maintained the race lead. Ferrari Pro in second. Spicy, Smithy, drag race down towards turn 1. Smithy with the inside line. Sorry, Spicy with the inside line. Dearie me. And he moves in front into P4. Smithy down to P5. And Riley just behind him P6. Aussie, I think, is just taking control of his car again. Hopefully. Maybe. No, it's still the AI. So he's going to lose a fair chunk of time relative to everyone else. And I think he's just rejoined then. I saw the leaderboard flicker. So I reckon he's back in. Around turn 6. This midfield pack not too far spread apart. But they're not quite close enough to battle each other just yet. Davis and Kong battling for position. That was for P14. Remember as well, top 15 score points in the main race, not the top 10. So all but one place are point scoring positions in this race in Mexico. So there's something to fight for. Around the hairpin, turn 13. Around turn 14 into 15. And towards the double right of 16 and 17. Pato still leading the way, taking full advantage of the grip available on the medium tyre. All Bags.
Bags has spawned at the final corner and just destroyed his front wing, I think.
And that's not a great rejoin either, if ever I saw one.
Yep. End plate's gone on the right hand side. Goes back in to the pit lane. Ouch.
Well, no assist racing. It does happen. It does happen. Pato doing what he needs to do out in front. He's got the grip, but does he have the pace? To be honest, I don't think he has the pace. He's not pulling away from the drivers behind. Not at a rapid rate anyway. The gap's increasing, but only by a few tenths. So, it's going to increase even more though. Gee whiz.
Yeah, had a bit of a tank slapper there at 6. Fortunately managed to keep the car under control.
Just about.
Just.
Now, his teammate ACW is still within that critical 1 second range. He'll get some DRS assistance into turn 12. Now into the stadium section. Now, none of these guys are quite close enough to battle just yet. We will have to wait a little while. Davis on the back of Aussie. We might see a battle between these two in a few moments. We'll keep our eyes towards the front though. Down the main straightaway. ACW will have DRS, so will Spicy and Smithy. Riley does have DRS himself, but he's right on the precipice of losing it. He's right on that 1 second margin. Plevs makes a move on Gares. He moves through into 9th position. His next target will be Pumped in the Williams. Davis gets by Aussie. Yeah, we saw that move coming. Moves through into P14.
Yeah, not bad start from Plebs though, we will say. From starting from last after a disastrous sprint up the 9th. He's made up some good amount of positions.
Yep.
Just need, at least for his sake. But yeah, no, you're definitely right about Pato. He definitely has not really increased. Like, he's got some straight line speed a little bit, I've noticed. He does pull away from Ferrari pros on the straight, but this little section is where he's not very strong. This is the S section.
Penalty number 1 of the main race goes to Gares. A 3 second time penalty for multiple warnings down in P10. He's currently on the back of Plevs. Plevs trying to catch up to Pump, and he's within range now to get DRS. Back onto the main straightaway goes the leaders. ACW sets a new fastest lap with a 19.3. So he's got pace underneath him. He's just in no real position to try and attack just yet. Speaking of attacking though, here comes Plebs to the inside of Pump. Moves through into P8. Tidy move, simple move, elementary move. It's now 8th place for him, Pumped down to P9. I think Kong overtook Marvelant as well. That was for P12.
He got him at turn 1 as well.
Yeah. A bit of a moment there from ACW. Had a small wiggle out of turn 5, but he kept the car under control. Yeah, I have a feeling we're not going to see too much at the front for at least a little while. These guys are spread out enough to not battle one another. Spicy's close, but he's not getting the DRS assistance that he needs, because ACW in front of him also has DRS. It sort of cancels out the effect. So Spicy is just stuck in a DRS train. And it's a similar story for Smithy in P5. Just sort of waiting in the wings, waiting for a moment to try and strike. I suppose during these early phases of the Grand Prix, you don't need to be too worried about attacking just yet. You'll know that you have a long, long way to go in this race. So
keep your eye on Spicy. He's coming. He's coming on ACW.
Down the inside.
ACW over the inside line for 2, but Spicy will counter that at 3. Takes away 3rd. There you go.
Yeah.
ACW also ran out of battery. I noticed there too down the main straightaway.
Spicy still has medium compound tyres bolted on that car, so he's got grip underneath him. He was able to use that to get by ACW. Can't help but think that he's going to be at a disadvantage towards the end of the race as Bags Liddell sets a new fastest lap. Nice aerial shot here, looking down at Spicy, making his way through this incredibly technical S section. See how fast the drivers go through there. It's actually quite a lot faster in-game than what it is in real life. In real life, it's quite a lot tighter. But in the game world, it is fast. You have to abuse every curve, every bit of track limit you can, so you can try and maximize the speed through the section. But, a bit wide there for Ferrari Pro, I think. He's kept the gap, so maybe not. That might have been just a trick with the camera.
Well, he's now going to have to find some company with DRS.
Here comes Smithy too.
Yeah, he's closing in. ACW does not have any resources to help him.
Nope.
Ooh, outside. He'll have the inside line for Smithy. Makes the move done. Plans also gets by Roscoe on the 7th place. Same corner as well, turn 1.
Yeah, it seems that ACW doesn't have the straight line speed underneath him. So maybe he had a qualifying setup on the car. Really good for one lap pace, but it isn't quite as strong in the race. Because he's dropping back down every straightaway. Oh, excuse me.
I don't blame you.
Oh!
Goodness me, ACW. How did he catch that?
Oh, skill and a bit of luck, I reckon. Gee whiz. How the hell did he not put that thing into a wall? That thing was properly sideways.
Seriously.
Oh, well, he's still within range of Smithy. That's the most important thing. Yellow's out. That's Aussie making a mistake through the yeses. Gets going again. No damage from what I saw. Pato still leads, but he's still only got 1.4 seconds over Ferrari Pro. That gap has very much remained the same. Spicy in P3, Smithy P4, ACW in 5th. Plevs in P7, now up 9 places after the start. Been very tidy, clawing his way up through the field. Roscoe behind in the tow. Nowhere near close enough to try and attack just yet. Around the hairpin of turn 6. And none of these guys are quite close enough. They're actually starting to spread out.
The doldrums of Formula 1 where you have some gaps forming.
Yeah, well, when
Pretty much.
the gaps are small and they just form DRS trains and no one's able to move on one another, they're all just stuck. That's another terrible situation we could get ourselves into. Sorry, it's been a long day.
Don't worry.
I've got heavy eyes already.
Well, Fato's now made some sort of error because Ferrari Pro's now within. Well, he wasn't. I thought he wasn't going to get DRS apparently. No, he was about over seconds ahead, and now it's about 9/10. And now the gap's going to decrease thanks to the aid of DRS.
If he made a mistake, he must have did it before DRS detection zone. Because obviously, if he made a mistake through the final corner, Ferrari Pro, if he made a mistake through the final corner, Ferrari Pro wouldn't have received DRS because the detection zone is before turn 16 as Kong gets by Gares for P10. So if Pato did make a mistake, must have been through the yeses or maybe into turns 12 or 13. So
yeah, because I noticed the gap before it was like 1.2 seconds, and then it just dropped by 4 turns. Sorry.
Now, nice run out of turn 11 down towards turn 12. Ferrari Pro isn't quite close enough to do anything just yet, but he is chipping away at that gap. Yellow's out, it's Bags Liddell. Riley gets a 3-second time penalty as well for track limit warnings. So the penalties are starting to come, they're starting to build as expected here in Mexico. See the tyre situation as well. Spicy and Pato, P1 and P3, they're going to pit relatively shortly. I imagine, looking at the numbers, probably lap 12, I'd say, is when they'll pit to move on to the hard tyre.
Makes sense. And then they got to try to set some kind of quality laps as well.
Yeah.
Just to build up that gap between the car they're fighting for the lead.
The tricky bit, though, will be getting their tyres up to temperature first off.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because they're going to be very slow with cold tyres. It's amazing how much tyre temperature affects the pace of the car. And it doesn't matter what tyre you're on, because I experienced this in Formula Endurance last night, where a track in Montreal, began to go into full wet conditions. Although Mark didn't really say much about the full wet conditions, he said that the conditions were a bit touch and go. I decided to stick it out on the intermediate tyre, and I couldn't build temperature at all during those conditions. The tyres got cold and they stayed cold. And when you got cold tyres, even on inters, they're completely useless. And I had absolutely no pace and no grip. So it's really, really important. Tyre temperature. Tyre pressure is another big thing as well. Kong spun. It moves down to P12.
Yep, probably did that on the foul tire. Meanwhile, Pump and Roscoe Arm Valley at turn 1. Roscoe Arm trying to go around the right side. Trying to go for an over-under, but it doesn't seem like he can't do anything about that.
Yeah, and Pump will get DRS here and just drive away.
Okay, so he probably had DRS beforehand. Makes sense.
Yep. So, it's one of the more interesting features about the circuit. The fact that there isn't a DRS detection zone as Bags gets a speeding penalty and retires in the pit lane. He's had enough for the night.
As Pato runs wide at the edge of the S's, and here comes Ferrari Pro trying to close up. Not quite close enough though to attack the Alpine in front of him.
Yeah, it means if you get DRS down the main straight, you get DRS down the following straight. So if you can get the pass done at turn 1, you get a free bit of DRS to try and pull away. So that's why turn 1 is easily the best overtaking spot on the circuit, and I think we're going to see an overtake here for the lead.
Yep, Ferrari Pro's got DRS and slipstream. Yellows are out for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Bax's AI, of course.
Correct.
Silly me.
Through turn 2, Pato tries to fight. Through turn 3, Pato runs wide. Down the long straightaway towards turn 4. Ferrari Pro has the nose in front. And with DRS help, he moves into the lead. Pato now being swapped by Spicy, who goes down the inside at turn 4. Pato left the door open. Spicy moves through into second place. So Pato losing 2 places thanks to him not having DRS.
And I think now would be the time to get off of those tires, get off the hards.
Yeah.
Immediately, otherwise you're just going to keep losing time, of course.
If Spicy still got pace on those tyres, he could probably try and stick with Ferrari Pro and try and stretch these tyres out, but I don't know about Pato. It depends on how much pace he still has on those tyres. Because there are benefits to trying to stretch the tyres out for as long as you can. There are deficits as well. You just need to weigh up the consequences and decide where you want to go. Decide which bullet you're going to bite, really.
Yeah, pretty much. So, looks like Spicy's still going to continue on. Same with Pato. They're both going to continue on, pretty much.
Well, again, based off the information given, the hards can do 20 to 28 laps, according to the game. And as of right now, we have got 24 laps to go. So this is definitely the window to move on to a set of hards, if so it's Spicy or Pato so chooses. Straight away, Roscoe Arm, are you close enough? No, you're not. I don't think you're close enough to go for a move at turn 4. Back to this top 4 fight. Ferrari Pro, Spicy, Pato, Smithy is the top 4. ACW is clawing his way onto the back of the train. So we now got a 5-car fight for the lead. I say fight, it should be train. A 5-car leading train. The only 2 drivers battling are the top 2, Ferrari Pro and Spicy. Everyone else behind is just watching the show. Not a great line there from Ferrari Pro as Gare spins out through the S's and will rejoin. G4 Zach gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Down the main straightaway we go. Now lap 14 of 36 here in Mexico. Spicy with DRS assistance will close in, but he's not closing in by enough to attack into turn 1. Yeah, he'll be too far behind here into the right-hander. Through 1, into 2, and around turn 3. Nice and steady through the opening chicane complex. Slide there from Smithy. He was properly sideways at the exit of turn 3. Smithy, he'd be looking to get by Pato, looking to get by Spicy as well. and try and attack the race leader Ferrari Pro, as they're on the same strategy. Yellow's out, that's Aussie spinning.
Yep. Not the wall though, at least he's still going. That's the main thing.
That's the main thing. Out of turn 11. Ferrari Pro has got margin in hand. Shouldn't have to worry too much about the cars behind. Davis and Gers were battling for position briefly. Davis moves in front into P13. And around turn 16. Oh, big understeer moment there from Ferrari Pro. Very wide. Into the pits goes Pato.
Yep. Is that enough of those tires? Every old hard tires bolted to the car.
Up go the Jacks, on go the Hards, and away leaves the Alpine. And he should rejoin in front of Kong, I would think. Yellow's out, it's Davis. Having a moment out of turn 12. No damage on... He's... What? He was in the middle of the circuit. Why was he given a 5-second time penalty? And Gez...
Speed in the pits. Wait. Eh?
Oh, sorry. I must have been reading the wrong person. Gez must have got the 5-second penalty for corner cutting. I was looking at Davis and the thing popped up. I thought Davis got the 5-second. No. It must have been Gez.
Yeah. No, I'll take a look. No, Gers? Oh, no, that's Aussie. Sorry. Silly me. Penalty. It doesn't really say he got a 5-second. Okay. Oh, for Christ's sake. I've got that stupid glitch again with the race director. So yeah, no, I'm going on to the screen where the results are now. Okay, I'm gonna have to exit and come back.
Oh, good. I've got this covered. Spicy goes into pit lane. He'll be moving on to a set of hard compound tyres, and he'll go to the end of the race on those with 21 laps to go. Should be able to get to the end very, very, very comfortably. KD will rejoin us in just a few moments' time. But out in front, Ferrari Pro has got a 1.6 second margin over Smithy, as Kong gets a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting. That must have been at the arena section. He will peel into pit lane, it seems. We might have our third retirement. I reckon we're going to have a third retirement. There's the third retirement. We're down to 13.
Where's this? Please let me get in.
Through the S's we go. There's KD rejoining. 1.6 seconds is the gap. 1.7 now. 9/10 is the gap between Smithy and ABW, but ACW. With DRS assistance, he'll be able to close in just a little bit. And Smithy, dearie me, that's a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, as Kong has also left the session. A lot of not so happy drivers.
Well, even Banks the Deli sharing that in the comments. Don't blame me, really, to be fair. I hate this place too.
Alright, now down towards T1, ACW not close enough yet to do anything for iPro, driving comfortably out in front, doing what he needs to do. Keeping the gap healthy, but Smithy is still there. And he has gained a little bit of time. It's now shrunk to 1.5 seconds. As Pato gets by Zach, that is for P9. So Pato's next target will be Spicy, who went longer on those hard tyres, but he still needs to get them up to temperature. He still needs to get them up to temperature, but I think after this sector, they should be nice and warm now. He's done a lap on them already, so should be okay. Still have his hands full with Pato, though, I imagine. Now, Ross Graham's keeping pumped company. 0.5 second separating these two. They head down the back straightaway towards turn 12. Ross Graham is just not quite close enough to attack here. He might be able to launch an attack though down the main straightaway though. No one else is in any sort of battle, so we'll keep our eyes on this. Exiting the arena section around turn 16, up towards turn 17. Gap sitting at 0.6 of a second. DRS open on Roscoe's car. Down towards turn 1. No, he won't be close enough. He'll gain a few tenths, but he won't be close enough to attack here into 1. He's staying behind. At least through here. Oh, Pump's made a mistake though. Overshooting turn 1. And Roscoe was balked at turn 2. Thanks to Pump's compromised line. So Roscoe lost a little bit of momentum. And as a result, he can't attack here into turn 4. He has to stay behind Pump. Yeah, the field's really starting to spread out now, KD. We're getting close to the pit window to move on to the mediums.
Yeah, mediums. Yep. No, this is typically what you see here in Mexico. These sort, like I mentioned, these sort of little gaps and whatnot.
Yep. It just sort of happens, so. Leader makes their way onto the main straight. The gap's 1.2 seconds. Yeah, I think a few people share a similar opinion, Silderford. So, down towards T1, top 2 separated by 1.2. P2 and 3 separated by 0.7 of a second. And it's 4.4 seconds back to Riley. Plev's currently occupying P5. He's almost within 3 seconds of the McLaren driver, so he might be able to challenge for that 4th place. Then there's Pump, P6. Making his way out of turn 3 and this long straightaway towards turn 4. Roscoe close, but not quite close enough. And I imagine it's going to be a similar story with Pato here, down towards turn 4. Yeah, not quite close enough to attack at turn 4. Yeah, everyone's just ticking over the laps right now, KD. We're just waiting for the pit stop period to come around.
Yeah, I mean, that's just basically how it is. But, yeah, as long as the thing is for Spicy or Pato, as long as they don't really foul each other too hard, they could try to see if they can get a bit of a undercut on the top 3. Speaking of which, ACW pops into pit lane to get off of those hards onto a set of mediums.
Riley doing the same thing in the McLaren. So a bit of strategy play going on here. Some early pit stops trying to undercut. Be interesting to see how effective the undercut is. Of course, in order to make it fully effective, you need some clear traffic. ACW does not have clear traffic. He's got Spicy and Pato right in front of him as Aussie's left the section again. Pato close to attack, but not quite close enough. As we head through turn 2 and around turn 3. The gap sitting at 4.5 of a second. The gap between the top 2 that will close down this straight, but not by enough for Pato. See ACW doing a little bit of weaving just to try and get temperature into his mediums as he heads around turn 5 towards turn 6. Hard on the brakes here, keeping it in 4th gear, nice and steady on the accelerator, nice and tidy on the exit. It's really important that you don't overdrive the car on fresh tyres. It's really easy to do. Suddenly you've got tyres with plenty of life in them and plenty of grip. What they don't have is plenty of temperature. You need to give yourself at least a couple of sectors just to try and get those tyres nice and warm, so then you can lean on them as the top 2 pit in to get off the hard tyre.
Yep. Off the mediums as well. Alright. I reckon they'd probably be close between this group again. I think we'll see this group reform. See Frypros make its way toward pit exit. Same with Smithy. Let's see, where's Spicy? Down the main straight. Oh, they maintain their spots apparently.
Well, it seems that the overcuts worked. Yeah, Ferrari Pro is out in front, and he's actually gained time on Smithy. Must have got a pretty spot on pit entry, I would guess, because he pulled out a couple of tenths there. So yeah, this has really worked well for those who went longer on the hard tyre. Having that extra temp really works, and the person who lost out really in all of this was ACW.
He's down to 7th. Well, right now at least.
Well, it's going to be tough for him to move forward. He does have better tyres now, but he's stuck at the back of a DRS train. I mean, how are you going to move forward through it?
Yeah, and then we saw also with a straight line speed. Doesn't really. Oh. Yeah, 3 second time penalty. That's gonna hurt you big time. I was gonna say that he didn't really have the quickest car in a straight line,
Contact between HCW and Pato that almost resulted in a spin. Oh, gee whiz. Oh, and a wiggle there from Pato. His tyres are probably fairly hot after that. Marvelin gets a penalty. You were saying, Kato?
I was going to say that about ACW straight line speed. Well, as I said, they will take Pato. But I was saying that he didn't really have the quickest car in a straight line, did he? When we watched him early in the stints.
Well, thanks to that contact between himself and Pato, it meant that Pato lost DRS to the cars in front, and I wouldn't be surprised if Pato was upset with that. I'd be upset with that if I was in Pato's shoes. I reckon every driver would be upset if they were in Pato's shoes, because they just lost DRS, and we know how effective it is, so...
Yeah, and the bump and run is would get anyone pissed off.
The Bristol move. New Mexico move, I guess. Here. Mexico City move. Oh, Zach. Oh, that's a damaged front wing on a Haas. Hello.
Safety car?
Not yet.
Oh.
No. And that's a completely destroyed front wing. I think that might be the first time I've seen a completely destroyed front wing on a Haas and it not be a safety car. Pumps pit in. Giving away the... No, the myth hasn't been busted, Bags. It just means that 99% of the time it happens. This is the 1% that we've just witnessed. So... It just means we just lowered the percentage from 100. It goes down to 99 now. And the next time I see it, will go down to 98, and then 97, and so on. Yes. That's how it works. In my head canon, anyway.
I guess you could say it's also an anomaly, Bags.
Yeah, that was the anomaly. That one right there. It should happen. It's always happened. Ever since I started commentating on this game, the amount of time I've seen a Haas break their front wing, completely destroy it, and it brings out a safety car is just ridiculous.
I didn't witness that last night with Endurance. Although you caused the safety car and you weren't in a Haas. You were in a Williams.
I was in a Williams.
Yeah.
You know, I lost control at the exit of Wall of Champions, and because I'm not a champion, I didn't put it into the Wall of Champions. I instead put it into the wall opposite of the Wall of Champions. So,
surprisingly, you didn't DNF from it, which is a very good thing to.
Well, it meant that I had to do the rest of the race, and 70 laps around Montreal does take a while.
Of course.
But we ended up finishing, and I got a P6 out of it because I didn't get a penalty. So, as Riley moves through into P5.
Yeah, quite right, Bags. We probably don't need to talk too much about that, I guess.
It was a long night.
Oh, yeah. It was a dramatic night. A lot more dramatic than I was anticipating.
You know, I was expecting plenty of warnings. And I only managed to snag up 2, so I was pretty happy with that. Wasn't happy with my pace, but I was happy with the minimization of mistakes, I suppose. Best way of putting it.
Yeah, because with Montreal, it's easy to do so. And stupidly horrible.
Yeah, you got 3 chicanes where you can easily pick up track limit warnings, so it's not a fun track to drive around. Similar story here, where you're so close to track limits all the time, it's very easy to pick them up. Got a fair few drivers with penalties right now. Like, everyone in the top 5 except for the race leader has got a time penalty. So, if we have a safety car late, this is going to have a huge effect on the race. And here comes HCW. Now on Spicy. He'll move through into 3rd position now. Spicy will have to give chase. Try and keep this fight alive. Meanwhile behind Pump. Roscoe Arm down the main straightaway towards turn 1. Pump closing in. Looks to the outside here into the opening right-hander. Gets in front, but Roscoe fights down the inside. As they head into turn 2, now they're still side by side. Around turn 3, Roscoe has the nose in front, but Pump's got pace, and he has DRS, and he gets in front. Davis a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Yeah, Canada, Mexico, Portugal, and Mexico. Yeah, yeah, this sounds like a great week for you, babes. Awesome.
Yeah, that face tells it all there. The upside down face.
Oh dear.
Zach, he's crashed, has he?
Yeah, he has.
Yep.
And that's a safety car.
That's a safety car. Yep.
Well, there we go. And I'm pretty certain the front wing on that Haas, if I'm not mistaken, is broken, amongst other things on that car.
Well, time for everyone to go into the pits, I suppose.
Myth unbusted, as far as I'm concerned. Into the pits goes a few people. So, soft tyres on ACW, Spicy and Riley's car. Bit of lag there. Yeah, front wing is broken. I thought it was. Pump stays out. A few drivers have stayed out. 11 laps to go, KD. What are you going to do?
Well, if you have a gap, I would take the advantage of going to the pits and go on the soft tires, but in this sort of scenario, I would stay out. Really just try to work out as much as you can.
Yeah, I can't help but feel track position is going to be key. Like, we've seen how difficult it can be to pass unless you get trains breaking up and you start getting groups forming. It's really, really difficult to move forward. So, if we have just one long train from here to the end, no one's moving in it, unless you make a mistake, of course. So,
yep.
Guys towards the back, though, I would, if I was towards the back, I would be definitely pitting onto the soft tyre, because I would have nothing to lose at all. Yeah. You know, if I was fearful of going a lap down, I might stay out an extra lap on the tyres I'm on, try and catch up a bit to the leaders, and then pit onto softs, because I've got nothing to lose. So
yeah, that's totally fair. Fair statement.
What do the leaders do? Stay out?
They're staying out.
They're staying out.
Just take track position. I mean, with ACW, Spicy, and Raleigh, and Marlin, well, Marlin's obviously way further back, but take that back. So with ACW, Spicy, and Riley's positions, I mean, they lost out a couple of spots down to 7th, 8th, and 9th. Mind now, Plebs, Pump, and Roscoe Arm, pretty much.
So, you know, it'll be interesting to see how this will all unfold. Those soft tyres should make it. Pump demonstrated that the softs can go 12 laps. Not that they have a great deal of pace towards the end, but they can do it. That's, I suppose, the most important thing, is that they can do it. But, yeah, you got all that work to do, and you need to make sure you still have a bit of life at the end so you don't, you know, drop back down like a stone in water, thanks to you having no grip on your tyres. So, the clouds, they've lingered around, KD, but no rain. No rain.
It's just been cloudy the entire race so far, at least.
Yep.
Oh well. I mean, hey, at least ACW told us to. I'm so sorry.
Tired like me.
I mean, hey, we're getting there at least.
Getting towards the end.
I mean, hey, we got the Daytona 500 coming up tomorrow in the morning, so gotta get rested for that as well.
Yeah, Super Bowl of motor racing events.
Pretty much.
Can't help but feel though it's going to be a whole heap of nothing for 190 laps.
Probably until there's some sort of late caution, and then all chaos breaks.
Sort of what you get with the package you've got: low horsepower, high downforce. Roscoe Arms in.
Damn drag. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Alright. So he's taking an opportunity to pit here for new tyres. He's going to lose a bit of track position. He'll get in front of Marvelin though. Oh no, he won't. No, so Marvelin will move in front. Davis will be close with Davis. Alright, coming up to the pit exit line. Where does it end? There. So Roscoe gets the position. So Roscoe will be in P10.
Yeah, probably Banks. Yeah, Mexico doesn't impress him. Not at all.
Not too many geese up in Mexico, down in Mexico, I'd imagine.
No.
Plebs and Pato have just changed spots.
Today's place? Yeah, I was just gonna say. Now he gives the position back.
Pato must have made a mistake somewhere and lost the place, or just had something to deal with. Oh! Plebs just throwing it away!
Fun! Oh no!
Well,
oh no!
he was set for a podium potentially.
Yep, and that's now gone out the window.
Oops.
I mean, or the words of Marty Reed, what you're hearing is the nail in the final coffin.
Yeah, you for Plebs' podium chances, yeah. So.
Yeah.
Alright. I mean, fuck. Smithy. Space. He almost just ran up the rear Ferrari Pro's Ferrari. Gee whiz.
Ooh, they almost did it again.
Out of turn 16 and around the final corner. We're back on the green flag racing here in Mexico City. It's lap 29 of 36. We've got 8 laps to go. A bit of passing going on between Riley and ACW. We've got a pack forming here. A hungry pack. Down towards T1.
Riley nearly making contact with Pump. Oh, dearie me. That's close.
Through
they
turn
get through
2.
It okay.
Yep. So Riley into 4th position. ACW now trying to find a way by. Well, he's not quite close enough to Pump just yet. He's battling with Spicy right now into turn 4 and around turn 5. Gets the drive down. Gets in front. Riley overtook Spicy before the line. Well, that might be looked at post-race. Roscram 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. You can't do that, obviously. Can't overtake before the control line. And the control line here is the finish line. Here comes ACW on Pump. Pump. Oh, gee whiz.
Nearly ran at the back of him too there.
As Riley is attacking Pato. Pato with the inside line.
Contact between the two at the hairpin. Oh dear.
Around the final corner, back onto the main straight. Riley's dumping battery. Closing in on Pato. Looks to the inside. Got enough straight line speed here to hold the inside line, heading towards turn 1. Dives it in deep and moves in front. Oh, Pump overshoots 1. Here comes ACW drawing alongside around turn 3, running wide. Oh, just keeps control of the car. It's now a drag race. They make wheel-to-wheel contact as they head towards turn 4. Oh, he's bumping ACW wide. Contact again. Contact some more. And it sends Pump around. Oh, dear.
Yeah, Pump got contact with Spicy there at the rear.
Flick spins it back in the right direction. But, yeah, bit of a moment there.
Yeah, that might be looked at, I reckon.
Oh, Ferrari Pro holding a half-second margin over Smithy. Smithy, though, with a time penalty next to his name that is going to affect him in the final results.
Keep in mind, Ferrari Pro does have 2 warnings, so he needs to keep it clean. Otherwise, if he doesn't, well, it's going to be a fair fight.
Yep.
That's the main thing.
Around turn 16, up towards turn 17, DRS is now enabled. And here comes ACW closing in. Doesn't have a lot of battery though. You can see the straight line speed that ACW does not have. Pato is pulling away. There is Spicy and Roscoe behind. Into turn 1. Cutting a lot of turn 1 there. Gee whiz. Through turn 2. Into 3. Blue flags are out. That will be for Aussie. 3 seconds, Ridwan, for track limit warnings. If you cut the corner though enough, you can get 5 seconds. You can get up to 10 seconds even. Around,
the severity.
or contact between Pato and ACW at the apex of turn 6. Around turn 7 into 8. Turn 9. Through turns 10 and 11. Really chucking it through there. ACW with DRS open, closes in on Pato, who is losing time to Riley. Riley with 6 seconds worth of time penalties. So Riley, he has to get his head down to try and pull away from the train behind. His main opponent at this stage is GeForce Pato, who does not have a time penalty next to his name. And now Plevs has joined the tail of the train. ACW will open DRS and close in on the Alpine of Pato. Smithy has just taken the lead as well. Down the inside, Ferrari Pro fights back. Down the inside, he looks at turn 2. Smithy gets in front at 3, takes the lead. ACW gets in front of Spicy. Oh, and Spicy gets in front of GeForce Pato. Pato's going to drop down here a fair chunk. Spicy gets a 3-second time penalty. Plevs now down the inside. No, doesn't fully commit to it.
Oh, gee whiz, Ferrari Pro. That was sideways. Out of 5. He is lucky he caught that. Oh, his Riley gets a penalty too for running wide turn 6.
9 seconds now next to his name, so he will now have ACW to try and deal with. He needs to keep his head down and try and pull away. Those time penalties are really, really hurting the McLaren driver. Now up towards the arena section. Top 3 now separated by 1.2 seconds. Those soft compound tyres working a treat, though Riley was very sideways there in the middle of turn 15. Around turn 17 we go onto the main straightaway once again. We got 4 laps to go here in Mexico. DRS open on Ferrari Pro's car. Down the main straightaway towards turn 1. He's closing in bit by bit. He's got momentum. He looks but doesn't fully commit to the inside. He doesn't want to overtake here. Plevs gets by Pato, it seems. So Plevs now into P7. He could still recover here, get a decent finish. It's all about minimizing time penalties.
Yep, and he doesn't have any so far, so it's gonna be close. I reckon if he can try to get a podium, he just needs to keep it clean, really, and just get by.
Yeah, well, the gap between him and probably the main person we have to worry about is ACW. And the gap between those two is 2.7 seconds, I think. So yeah, ACW needs to get a hurry on. He won't know how close behind Plevs is. His leaderboard won't show him that. But he needs to get a move on. Pato now gets a penalty. He has 3 seconds next to his name.
I agree with that red one. I probably would say he will drop down to 8th. Riley with those 9 seconds worth of penalties. Maybe 9th or 7th or 8th, at least at best.
3 laps to go here in Mexico. Top 2 separated by half a second. Ferrari Pro closing in. Flashing lights at the back of his car. He's low on battery, but so is Smithy. Down to T1. He looks to the inside, commits to it, gets in front. Smithy can't fight that one. Smithy moves down into P2, and he's going to be vulnerable to Riley in the McLaren. He's got DRS. He uses the battery, and he gets in front of Smithy. He's into P2. Whoa!
Oh, that was lag spike.
Gee,
holy moly.
Whiz, that was scary. Oh. Riley with the drive, with the grip. He's going round the outside of Ferrari Pro. It's a drag race to turn 4. Ferrari Pro has to back out, and does. Riley takes the lead, but that could have been so much worse.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That might have been another one of those screen freezes that we saw earlier.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, Ferrari Pro!
Oh, Ferrari Pro's got a penalty!
So that it's now a genuine fight here between Ferrari Pro and Smithy. It's on.
It's on. Yep, it is most certainly on.
Alrighty then. Crossing the line now. It is 2 laps to go here in Mexico. 3:10 separate the top 2. 4:10 separate P2 and 3. And they're fighting for the outright win. Ferrari Pro to the outside, heading towards turn 1. Gets in front of Riley, and Riley in turn will be vulnerable down the next straightaway. Through turn 2, around turn 3. Ferrari Pro needs to get his head down and pull away. Smithy needs to get by Riley here. Looks to the inside. Can't fully commit to it though. He stays behind. Now around turn 6. Down towards the S's now. You're right. Ridwan. Plebs in with a real shot of a podium. We'll have to wait and see how the penalties unfold though. But he's in with a genuine shot. Alright, up towards turn 12 for the second last time. 7-10 separating the top two. Oh, it gave me that damn camera angle for. Through turn 13. 14. Into 15. It's 0.8 of a second. Ferrari Pro has pulled away. He's got margin in hand. Down the main straightaway we go. Last lap. Lap 36 of 36 here in Mexico. Riley closing in. He's not closing in by anywhere near enough to attack the race leader. Plebs gets by Roscoe Arm. That's for P6. Spicy ACW battling for P4. ACW gets in front and he should pull away. Riley will close in here. Down towards turn 4. Won't be close enough though to attack. It's going to stay behind. Round turn 5 up towards 6. Getting around the right-hander. Down towards the S's now for the final time. Ferrari Pro through turn 7, through turn 8, through 9. Into turn 10, then 11. Gets through the S's unscathed. 1 sector left. Turn 12. Chucks it in. Keeps it within the white lines. Doesn't lose control. The confetti flies in the arena section. 2 corners remain for F1 Ferrari Pro. He gets out of 16. Makes his way round 17. F1 Ferrari Pro will win the Mexican Grand Prix. Smithy in second. ACW currently third. But it is taken by Plevs at the line. Plevs take... He almost took P2. Misses out by 74 thousandths of a second. He almost won the whole thing.
That just goes back to thinking what could have been if he didn't make that mistake under the safety car.
Plebs given driver of the day, especially after what happened in the sprint. That's no surprise. So, podium celebrations. F1 Ferrari Pro winning the Mexican Grand Prix. Solid number of points from this round here in Mexico City. P2 goes to Smithy. P3, Plebs. Quite a moment for Plebs. Coming back up through the field after what happened in the sprint. And then what happened during that final safety car period. Count himself lucky that he ended up finishing on the podium. Could have been quite a lot worse.
Exactly.
So, the results for the main race. F1 Ferrari Pro is your race winner. And fastest lap too, 17.5. Next is Smithy, P2. Players from last, ends up finishing third and gets driver of the day. ACW 4th, followed by Roscoe Arm 5th, Spicy 6th, Riley 7th, Pato 8th, Davis 9th, Pump rounds out to 10. Next is Marvellant, then Aussie's AI finishes in 12th. With our retirements, Chief of Zach, Kong, Gez, and Bags Liddell. And there we are. Quite the event here in Mexico, especially towards the end. It all just kicked off nicely at the end of this race. But we'll do the podium interviews in just a minute. As soon as I get through this loading screen, we'll get to the visual showroom. Yeah, it's so easy to do, Easy Mac. It's so easy to do to get lazy warnings around here. Drifting wide, cutting a bit too much. It's just sort of how it works here in Mexico. But I'll be back in just a few moments. We'll invite P1 and 3 in. We can have a chat. Ferrari Pro. And Plevs, see if we can't find Plevs. There he is. Chuck the audio balance back a bit so we can make sure we get plenty of party audio, and turn down the theme music. Theme music is loud. Hello, Plevs.
Hi, Lane. How you doing?
Not too bad. Nice recovery.
That's alright. Could have been better.
Should have been. Hello, Ferrari Pro.
Hello.
Hello. But
Hey, Ferrari Pro.
we'll start the podium interviews. Go from third. We'll make our way up. You know the deal. So, Plevs, this was an interesting event for you in the Elite Series. P3 in the main race, but it didn't kick off so well. First of all, take us through what happened during qualifying.
Yeah, I had a pretty rubbish qualifying, to be honest. Bank lap was decent. I think it was 16.0. Which is alright, I guess. But then my next two runs were, I can't really remember. I think I might have invalidated the second one. I'm not too sure. And then the last one, I started the lap too close to Marco, because Marco overtook me in the third sector. Yeah, and I did basically start a lap, I don't know, like 5-6 car lengths behind him, so it wasn't ideal. And he invalidated and had to pull off to the side, which is fine. But yeah, for some reason it really put me off, and I basically missed an apex and lost like 4 tenths. So yeah, I only improved. Well, I don't know how much I lost actually, but I only improved by 6/100ths. But yeah, I felt like there was probably at least 3-4 tenths in that lap. So yeah, rubbish quality, and then I don't know what happened in the sprint, to be honest. I got a good start, and then second lap, just out of turn 1, I think just too much throttle as I was kind of changing directions between turns 1 and 2, and it just lost traction very quickly. I couldn't really do anything. It was all, yeah, it just threw me into the fence. I had one of those slow motion crashes into the barrier.
Yep.
And yeah, I was surprised at I lost a wheel doing that. But anyway, probably would have been last anyway. So, and then yeah, I had thought from the back I had a pretty decent Grand Prix, but yeah, I thought about starting on the mediums, but I just thought I'd make up spots on the hards and then go long. Seemed to work, and then the safety car, when Zach crashed, kind of helped me because I had no pens, and then yeah, under the safety car I lit up the rears. I went to try and get tyre temp and spun again, and just a bit of a disaster. And then yeah, anyway, probably without that, if the knowing the front two ended up having pens, I might have been able to win. But
I pointed that out as well. Yeah, I pointed that out, that if you didn't do that mistake, you would have won that race. Yeah,
so yes, a bit of a shocker for me tonight, honestly. I'm like, even though I'm on the podium, I'm like pretty annoyed. Because yeah, there's a lot, I left a lot on the table, so yeah, well, it's the way it goes sometimes, and I'm sure everyone, yeah, there's probably people more annoyed than me. But yes, I don't feel good about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I get you. Like, you know, there's more on the table. There's a bigger result awaiting you if you strung it all together. But tonight you didn't quite do that. But you still managed to put together a pretty solid effort. And not getting any time penalties really helped out at the end. And you only missed out getting second by 75 thousandths, and then it was a further second to Ferrari Pro. So yeah, I reckon you probably were in a shot to win. That spin during the safety car period didn't help. It sort of demonstrates how little traction you have out there, I suppose, in Mexico. Just little mistakes, and it could cost you big time.
Yeah, I feel like some of it's a bit RNG. Especially with the curbs. Like, it was one lap I hit the last corner curb and it like really unsettled the car, whereas most of the time you can hit it no problems down there. Seems weird, but yeah, I don't know. I think it was all self-inflicted tonight. Like, didn't have contact with anyone. So yeah, usually that's my strength, is keeping it clean and consistent, and yeah, it just really was probably the opposite tonight, unfortunately. But I was driving in the Grand Prix like I had one warning to give until penalty, but because I thought I knew I had one at least, but I didn't know if I had two, so I was like, I'll just drive like I have two, and that seemed to work. But I ended up checking in the end and I only had one, so yeah, it's all psychological, I guess. But when you make big mistakes like that and throw away wins, I think that's the second win. I won the first race and I threw away the win in Spain, and I definitely threw away the win tonight, so I could have 3 wins out of 4, which is really annoying. But yeah, GG to Ferrari Pro and Smithy for the win and P2, and well done to the other guys as well. I think it was a pretty clean race. I didn't really see a lot of incidents, but you might correct me on that.
Not really. From what I could tell, there was a few moments, I think, here and there, if I remember correctly. There was an incident with pump at turn 4 that probably will get reported, but that was about it. But KD, do you have anything to ask Mr. Race Spec?
Not for the comment, but otherwise, good job on your podium. But yeah, unlucky though for all the self-inflicted wounds that you had there. But,
yeah.
But still, good job nonetheless.
Thank you.
But one final question for you. Next week we're heading over to the Hungaro ring for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Thoughts heading into next week?
Yeah, I don't think I'm great there, to be honest. So it's probably, out of the first 5 tracks, it's probably my weakest.
Right.
So I'm gonna have to put some practice in, I think.
Alright.
But yeah, you never know what can happen. Like, I don't know, can you get penalties there? I guess you can.
Turn 4, you could.
Yeah.
Exit of turn 11. Yeah, that's about it that I can think of. Penalties won't be a huge issue.
Yeah, I think quality's going to be super important because this is a bit of a DRS train, I think. So yeah, not very confident at the moment, but we'll see.
Damage limitation then heading into next week.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck for next week, but for now, congrats on a P3 finish here in Mexico. Well done.
Thank you. Cheers.
But, and a quick mention to Smithy. Consistency is king for you, buddy. You have performed quite well over the past few events. Looking at the championship, decent chance you will probably take the lead. Obviously, we've got a fair chunk of math to go through because this was a sprint round. There's a real chance you might take the championship lead. So yeah, this championship is getting really spicy. It's good to see. But well done to you, Smithy. Congrats on your P2 finish here in Mexico. And we'll move on to the race winner, Ferrari Pro. Man, what's with you in sprint races?
I don't know. I just wanted to say I'm back though.
First win of the season. It's been a while.
Yeah. No, the sprint race felt pretty good actually. I'm actually pretty happy about that. Really annoyed about qualifying though, but
yeah, you invalidated your final run, didn't you?
I improved, but only.
Oh, that's right. Sorry,
ACW.
ACW invalidated.
Yeah, it was like 20,000 for the second between me and ACW.
Yep.
I was so annoyed about that. Yeah, I was like, oh, if only I didn't mess up one of the corners, could have got pole. But
fine margins.
Yeah, but no, the sprint race was actually pretty good for me. I don't remember an awful lot of it after those 36 laps just then. I'll have a look after, but no, I think I can't even speak. God, can I speak?
Long night.
Yeah, COVID's really got to me though. But from what I remember, it was a good race. You know, I did everything I could. I did everything I needed to do, and overall, I won the sprint. So.
You and your teammate made contact though.
That's right. That's right. Honestly, I don't know what much I can put of that because I personally thought that I left enough space on the outside there of, I think it was turn 4. Yeah, I felt I left enough space, and we were in a party chat together, and of course we were like annoyed that we had the contact, but I don't think we were too. I don't think we were too worried about that.
Okay.
Well, that's
I hope not. But either way,
sorry.
Either way, if it was my fault or if it was ACW's fault or just a racing incident, apologise for that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you were still racing with Corona Chan.
Wait, what was that?
That you still had coronavirus. You said you still had coronavirus.
Oh no! Oh, I got rid of COVID about Wednesday, but COVID's just messed with my head.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But moving on to the main race, had a pretty decent start from what I could remember on the hard tyre from pole position, but in comes this flying Italian on the medium, so it slingshots by you into turn 1. When you saw Pato get in front, what was your thought process for the opening couple of laps? Was it just to try and get into the rhythm of the hard tyre, try and pluck away if you can?
Just basically wanted to keep up with Pato in a way, but yeah, I was trying to get away as much as I can from like P3, P4 and that. Of course, I was giving ACW like some chances at DRS, and I was backing off at some stages, making sure he had solid in DRS, but I was 1.5 to Pato at one stage, and then I just started bringing it down, so that was my main aim, like let him burn his tyres out, then I'll come along. And overall, that's what happened. I think I got in front of him before he pit, and yeah, it was all sailing from there.
Yep, absolutely. That's yeah, you decided to pit in. Oh goodness, it was a lap after, or maybe 2 laps after your teammate.
Yeah, I think it was end of lap 20.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It turned out the overcut worked quite well because your teammate was now at the back of this leading group, and he tried the undercut. So it seemed that the overcut was the way to go. And you were looking pretty comfortable. You had Smithy for company, but he did have a time penalty next to his name at the time. Yeah. So I don't think you were too terribly concerned about Smithy at that point.
I was still concerned about him like getting past me and having the potential to pull away, because like he is pretty quick like that to do that.
Yeah.
But in a way, I wasn't terribly worried about it. I was just kind of just focusing on keeping it straight, just keeping it on the grey stuff and not going over the white line. So
yeah,
as much as I was worrying about him, I was just honestly, more worrying about him, but worrying about myself.
Fair enough. And then G4 Sack had his crash in the stadium section, exiting.
I had a good view of that.
Did he just lose it by himself and put it in? Yeah, okay.
I think he just lost it.
Yeah, those curbs can be quite nasty, so I don't blame him. But that causes a safety car. Were you past pit entry when it came out?
I was in front of the pit entry, and I wanted to stay out, but I had ACW like saying, I'm gonna go in for softs, and I was like, yeah, do that, because honestly, he at the time he had like a 3-second, so like he had I wouldn't say nothing to lose in that situation, because if he didn't pit, he probably would have fell back, and I think pitting was the best choice for him.
Fair enough.
I'm speaking more of his race than mine, but
yeah.
Yeah.
You stayed out on the medium tyre. You had to fend off the likes of Smithy and Riley towards the end of the race. Riley on soft compound tyres, but you didn't really have to worry about him. He had quite a few time penalties next to his name. Well, probably did turn into a worry though when you got the 3-second time penalty next to your name with only a few laps to go. Were you kicking yourself? You're like, damn it! Yeah. After all of that, I get one.
I was quite annoyed with myself, but at the same time I knew that I couldn't let that get to me because I still had a chance of winning the Grand Prix, so I really just tried to put that behind me and just forget that I had the time penalty and just really start clawing back what I just lost in a way. So
yeah,
it might have made me a bit better in those last couple laps, just to determination. Yeah, to keep fighting at the front.
Fair enough. Because, yeah, on that final lap, you pulled away, I noticed.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had the pace.
I had a lot of grip around Mexico tonight, just in the Grand Prix itself. I had a lot on the hards, had a lot of mediums, so... Yeah, I don't know. I was trying out some new tyre pressures, so maybe they were doing good for me.
Fair enough.
Probably had a few clicks, maybe like a couple of clicks to the right, I assume.
Yeah, a couple clicks to the right. I think I had like 4 of 3 on my rears, so yeah, it was pretty nice.
I'll keep that in mind for the America series for myself.
Yeah, I'll keep you updated on that.
I'm just trying to figure out my own.
Anything to ask the race winner, KD?
Nothing else, I don't think, other than congratulations on your win. That was,
Thanks, KD.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, very good drive, nonetheless.
Thank you.
Well, Ferrari Pro, one question left for you. Next week we're heading over to the Hungaroring. How do you feel heading into next week's race over in Budapest?
We haven't raced there in a couple of seasons. I haven't really done much racing around there myself either, so it's going to be like a new challenge. But from what I remember from the laps I have done on F122 around Hungary, I don't really mind it. It's a pretty good track, I reckon, but probably a whole different situation in the race and that. So
fair enough.
I'm kind of going in blind, I would say, but yeah, looking forward to the challenge.
Optimistic then.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Well, best of luck then for next week, but for now, congratulations on winning your first race of the season. Well done. You are the winner of the Mexican Grand Prix. Well done.
Thank you, Lane and KD, for the commentary, and congrats to Plebs and Smithy on the podium. Well done, boys.
Well, KD, I think that's another stream wrapped up for the Elite Series. Not a bad one, I'd say. We had a lull period in the middle while we waited for everything to ramp up, and it eventually did, thanks to a safety car period right at the end of the race. That's yeah. All round, it had its boring moments, but we had an interesting ending at the very least.
Yeah, we did everything we can to keep ourselves busy too in the comm box, but hey, it was a decent race though, nonetheless. But yeah, it's just Formula One. That's all I have to say.
Definitely seeing worse around here, so yeah.
Of course.
But thank you again for joining me here for another stream, KD. Your help is always appreciated.
Of course.
But I think, folks, with the race finally over and everything said and done, it's time for us to end the stream. I've been Lane Everingham. My co-commentator for tonight is KD1997. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next week for round 5 of the championship at the Hungaroring for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Until then, it's goodbye.